term weird to describe the Trump-Vance ticket. As much as you can, tell us what he was saying. I mean, the word resonated with a lot of people. Other people thought it was off-putting and childish. But nonetheless, tell us what he was saying about Trump and Vance. That got a lot of eyeballs.
Right. So he was basically calling them weird for the various things that have come up over the past couple of weeks. And it was something that the Harris campaign really capitalized on after it sort of became a hit, including social media, which these days certainly has a lot more of an impact on, you know, the presidential campaign cycle and what is news and what people are focusing on when they're talking at the water cooler. You know, hitting on that word weird was a little bit different than what we see from the Vance/Trump campaign, maybe a little bit of criticism that people might be more uncomfortable with than the word weird. It might sound juvenile to some people, but it's certainly not the kind of rhetoric that we've heard from, you know, on the Republican side in terms of calling people names, I guess you would say. So it was something that they capitalized on. That was certainly an indication that possibly Walz was going to be Harris's pick, that they really jumped on his use of the word weird when describing specifically Vance, but also Trump. So now that we're looking back, of course, hindsight is 2020, but, you know, looking at this pick, we're going to find out more once they get on the stage together later tonight in Philadelphia as to why she chose Walz. She's, I'm sure, going to have something to say about his history and his time of service when appearing on stage together tonight.
Yeah, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised, Angie, if actually Josh Shapiro is the one either introducing them or speaks. It's in Philadelphia, and they want to put any kind of acrimony, any kind of division within the party behind them. I mean, just hours ago, really, she was declared the presumptive nominee, getting 99% of the vote. So it's really stunning how quickly she solidified things. They want to really put a cap on all of that. Stand by, Angie. I'm going to go over to Pennsylvania now, Philadelphia, to Cassie Simeon, standing by where this rally is going to be. And have we heard anything from former President Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance? Again, this is just minutes old that we've heard about Tim Walz being the pick of Kamala Harris.
Yeah, we've reached out to the Trump campaign for reaction. Haven't heard anything just yet from Trump or Vance, but we will likely hear from Vance in the coming hours. He will also be in the city of brotherly love later today for an event ahead of Harris's rally this evening. We have heard, though, from Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, the former candidate for president. He is calling Harris and Walz the most left-wing ticket in American history. Minnesota was ground zero for Black Lives Matter riots of 2020. Harris egged it on, and Walz sat by and let Minneapolis burn. So we can expect some of this rhetoric to come out over the next several hours and days, attacking the fact that Walz is seen as someone who is very liberal, whereas Shapiro was someone who is a more moderate Democrat, at least in the eyes of the party. One thing I did want to point out, though, Josh, is the fact that Walz brings House experience to this ticket. So, of course, Harris being a former prosecutor, serving in the Senate, he is someone who brings years of House legislating experience to this ticket. And really, if Democrats are going to be successful in November, that starts at the top down, needing a Democratic White House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic-controlled House. So if Democrats are able to win in November across the ticket, that real knowledge that he has, that institutional knowledge of how things work, how to legislate, is definitely going to be a benefit for him and the Harris-Walz potential administration. Yeah,
I agree. I also see him as kind of being a folksy attack dog, which is to the Democrats' advantage. Jason, let me turn to you. So this is just kicking off a very big road trip for the new Democratic ticket, and naturally, they are headed your way. Where else are they going on, you know, racking up the frequent flyer miles and trying to get votes in all of these swing states?
Well, essentially, they're hitting all the battleground states and states which they think are in play, including some stops in the Southwest as well. Wisconsin is tomorrow in Eau Claire. Once again, Senator J.D. Vance also kind of following this trip along of these battleground states over the next few days now as they try to roll out this new ticket, of course. And a couple of things there, fascinating to watch how they're able to start rolling out the ticket there in Philadelphia again. But as they hit these battleground states and the country continues now to kind of meet Governor Tim Walz and get to know him, the other part of all this, with less than 3 months to go to November, of course, is that the entire country, including a lot of Democratic voters, are still getting to know Kamala Harris now as the presumptive Democratic nominee. So a lot of formal and informal introductions going on of the American electorate over the next few days. And that's kind of the fascinating element to really watch for with the Democrats now going forward. Is it's really a sprint to the finish line here. Yes, Trump, obviously a known quantity, JD Vance, a more unknown quantity, and they, are continuing to roll him out across the country. But while Harris has served as vice president, obviously not as much in the spotlight as a president. And it's a fascinating few days ahead now across the great United States.
Sure is, and they're coming your way too, Jason, naturally. All right, Angie, you're going to get the last word. Just give me your final thoughts here about what we can expect the campaign to say about Tim Walz, why he was announced.
Well, one really quick thing I want to mention, Josh, is that I think that Republicans were ready either whether they picked Walz or whether they picked Shapiro. They're already attacking Walz on social media. They are specifically going after the state's response to the George Floyd protests a couple of years back. That was a potential issue for him going into this. So we'll have to see exactly how things play out, but the attacks are already getting started.
Yeah. So one final recap here. Tim Walz is the new Democratic running mate for Kamala Harris's campaign. She has not formally announced, so this is according to the Associated Press. We do expect a formal announcement to be imminent. We will keep you posted. Thanks so much for watching. In the meantime, I'm Josh Robin, and we have more news right now here on Spectrum News.